our next topic is going to be influencers, big hype or big help. Hannah Löffler is going to discuss this question with Roland Grenke, founder of Dubsmash, Francis Trapp, CEO and founder of Brand New Eye, and blogger Pamela Wright, who has 2.2 million followers on Instagram. And one of them, that's me. So have fun on stage.
Oh, ich muss in die Mitte, oder?
Du musst in die Mitte? Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Great. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this panel about influencers. The question today we're discussing, like Nina already said, is big hype or big help. It's all going to be about influencers, how they earn money and how they help companies to get big. So, Pamela, you're, sorry, I always spell your name correct. It's incorrect. It's Pamela, right?
Pamela, yes.
Sorry about that. So you're the biggest Instagrammer in Germany. You call yourself a social media influencer or a fitness model. Can you kind of describe what your job actually is?
So my job is different from all the jobs you know probably. So there is no day that's like the other. So I stand up, I check my emails, I work on projects we have, I'm in constant contact with my management, I take pictures, I edit them, I style myself. So I don't have like a group of people working for me, so I do like the job of kind of a manager, a businesswoman, then a photographer, a makeup artist, stylist, a writer for my blog. And yes, just being like me as a personality for my followers.
Okay, great. And for all of you who don't know, Pamela is just 19, and you basically graduated from school like, I don't know, half a year ago, maybe?
No, 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry. And Francis, maybe can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Francis. I founded Brand New about 3.5 years ago. And Brand New is a software as a service platform, and the platform is being used by brands and agencies to run all their influencer marketing needs in one single place.
Roland, you're next. Can you explain to us what Dubsmash does for all of you who don't know?
Sure. So I'm Roland, co-founder and managing director of Dubsmash. What is Dubsmash? Dubsmash is a video messaging app. And our mission is to bring joy to communication through video. So what you know Dubsmash for is probably the outcome of our app, where you kind of record yourself over a famous or popular soundbite, and you have your personal video, and this popular or famous soundbite is dubbed over your video, and the outcome is something entertaining, something really expressive. And we launched in November 2014, and today we have over 100 million users worldwide that got empowered to express themselves through video. So that's basically it. We are based here in Berlin and have a team of around 30 people based here in Berlin. Yes.
Okay, great. So we start the discussion. Just for all of you, we will have some questions, or you can ask some questions in the end of the panel. Maybe we have 10 or 5 minutes left in the end, so keep them in mind. Pamela, we start with you. Maybe you can explain to all of us, how did you get the idea to actually become an Instagrammer or to start this professionally?
I didn't even know that you can become an Instagrammer or something like this. So Facebook wasn't that in anymore at the age of when I was 16. And then I started to use Instagram instead because I liked photography and I liked modeling and stuff. So I thought Instagram would maybe be a good idea. And so I just started posting pictures randomly just of myself and basically the same topics as I do now, but not as professional as now.
But I do that as well. I like photography, I like modeling, but somehow I don't get beyond this threshold of 330 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
What's the magic?
You basically can't define what's the magic behind it. I don't think you can really explain why somebody gets famous and somebody not. I think it was a little bit of luck for me, but of course I have topics that most people like. So fitness, beauty, and fashion are important for all of the girls out there. So it's a mixture of everything.
I should think about the content then again.
Yeah, so you just try to explain why people follow you exactly. Who is following you? Are those boys, girls, which age? Yeah, do you know? Because they comment on your photos regularly and send you mails, I guess.
Yeah, so you can't analyze through Instagram, so they don't give you like the data. But from my blog and from like...
That's going to change, right?
Yeah, that's going to change, right? I know that over 60% are from Germany, and then USA is pretty strong, and UK and Poland and Switzerland and everything around Germany. Oh, and Russia. And over 80% are female. So I have a lot of girls with my account, which probably not all of you expected, but yes, girls. And at the age of between 16 and 25.
And why do you think do they look at your photos?
So they are mainly looking for inspiration and motivation. So you probably might not think about this when you first have a look at my account, but I post pictures daily when I work out and stuff, and so they kind of see me working out, and then they want to do it too. So they are following my life, and it's like kind of motivating for them to work for their dreams, or to go and work out, or to eat healthy, or something like this.
Okay, Francis. So your company connects companies with influencers. Is Pamela now the perfect influencer for you?
It depends on the brand. In general, looking at her Instagram profile, for example, the reach is outstanding, of course. The content is very beautiful, and she has an extremely high engagement rate. And these are some key elements when brands or agencies select influencers that they want to work with. And therefore, I would say, yeah, for sure.
And you said in the beginning, it depends on the company. Which company could work with Pamela?
Looking at our client list, I would say, for example, Armani or Louis Vuitton or Benefit Cosmetics or maybe some FMCG companies as well. Yeah.
Pamela, would you work with any of those companies? Would you?
No, not yet, but I would love to.
So sign up on our platform.
And how do you choose the companies that you are working with? Maybe you can explain to all of us. I mean, you have some corporations, which means you get paid by those companies for posting pictures with their products, holding certain kinds of teas. So how does that work? Do they write you an email? How do you stay in contact with them?
Okay, so first I have a management, it's Pulse Advertising, and they handle all of the business things for me. But I'm in the end the one who chooses if I want to do the project or not. And mainly the companies contact my agency, and then we will have a look at them if they fit to my style, if I like the other influencers they're working with, so if I can kind of identify with them. And then we're having a look, what kind of project can we do with them? So is it only a post, or is it a huge project with a lot of posts or something? So yes, that's kind of the...
And can you give us an idea how much money do you get for one post, maybe?
Of course you would like to know, but it's because I'm not doing like, or mostly not doing like one post project, so it's like money for the whole project, so you can't tell it for like one post. So it's everything, maybe it's photo shootings, like meetings and stuff, so that's kind of a price for everything.
Okay.
So we have one of our clients that is Gerolsteiner, the sparkling water brand, and every week they're having, or every year they have the water week, which means that influencers just drink water from Gerolsteiner for that week, and they document the experience on social media. And they usually ask influencers to post something like 10 pictures in 1 week.
10 pictures in 1 week?
Yeah, with Gerolsteiner.
Okay.
Let's say 5. How much would it cost?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't do it because I don't like to show one brand in such you know, like 10 posts in a week is too
Benefit
much.
Cosmetics from Louis Vuitton, they look for brand ambassadors, and they say you get, well, Benefit Cosmetics products every now and then. They expect maybe 1 post on Instagram per month.
Okay, yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I would do that. I would also do like 1 post per week or something if it's really a good fit with me and my style and my daily life and stuff. But for pricing, you have to contact my management.
What's the cut that they take?
What?
No, don't worry. Yeah, sure. So these are very typical campaign examples that our clients come up with. And yeah, it's what we see here as well is that very often clients expect, I want to have 20 pictures in 2 days from one person.
Yeah, that's not.
And then the feedback is, are they nuts? And then there's some kind of negotiation happening.
Yeah.
Pamela, maybe one question from my side. Was there also the case that you went to your management and asked them, hey, I want to have this in there because I love this brand or something? Could you reach out, so the other way around?
Yeah, of course, yes. Sometimes we also like do brainstorming about brands I would really like to work with, and then they will contact them. So that's both ways around.
Do you see yourself as being a brand as well?
Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to build a brand, yes.
Because we see that very often with influencers that they say, okay, this certain fashion brand, for example, Esprit, isn't something that I want to be associated with. And they say, don't you have brands like Louis Vuitton who would like to work with me?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Roland, maybe can you explain to us how Dubsmash got so famous? I mean, you just said it, 100 million downloads, which is crazy, and you never spend a cent on marketing, you say. So how got this app so big?
Yeah, so I think there are multiple factors that played into that, but maybe I tell you a little bit how we got started in the beginning. So our focus was really always kind of giving people the possibility to express themselves through video, and so we were searching for different ways of how to make this really natural and really entertaining and really kind of making that something that they're really willing to send to all of their friends. So that was kind of a main thing, and it was mainly around the product. And we iterated a lot on, of course, how the product works, but also how that integrates into other platforms and how we got kind of users seeing our content, getting back to our application. And what we found was that something that we didn't expect was instead of using that tool to create stuff for social media, we mainly saw that people were creating and sending videos through them private messaging apps like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and so on. And I think that was our main driver of growth. So really into the private messaging, where you have something, you have a personal video that might be a little bit funny, maybe a little bit embarrassing, but still something that your friends like. So really a personal space where you want to share that, and then getting that out, and then making sure, of course, that people identify that as a Dubsmash video and getting that back. And coming to user acquisition, we actually grew completely organically. So this was always our focus, making the product kind of the best user experience possible, and we are constantly iterating on that. And then having something that's integrating with kind of the daily life of our users and getting people pulled in from that space.
But still, a lot of really big celebrities used your app. Hugh Jackman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Selena Gomez, and so on. Would you have gotten as big without their help?
I would say, thinking about celebrities, and I think influencers in general is, of course, a broad term. I think what we got a lot of kind of contact with was really the kind of old school celebrities, so movie stars and sports people and so on. I think it's something that's accelerating, that can accelerate growth, and that's also a reason why we maybe grew so quickly, because at some point then you got kind of some influencers on the bandwagon. But the most important part was really from our core users to the core users. So we have just one number on that. I think we have 35 videos shared per second on our platform, and 34 of those are privately shared. So this is something where really kind of our growth comes from. However, of course, it's great to see kind of people that you know all of a sudden using your product, which is a great thing. And we are now using kind of those kind of contacts and building out partnerships later on. But it was nothing that we said, okay, we want to have kind of a large celebrity coverage or something, or this is a celebrity product. It was nothing that we planned in the beginning.
And did you ever think about paying an influencer to use your product?
I mean, short answer, no. Longer answer is yes. Of course, you think about different ways of how you can get kind of your app more well known. It was something that was for us. We are really product focused and really product centric. We are not so much marketing driven. We're really product driven, and that's why we said before we start kind of paying people to get into our app, at all means, let's iterate on the product, make the product better, and let people discover that it's really great, and then use the user kind of as an engine to spread kind of the application.
Okay. So Francis, so you got the company and you got the influencer. What would happen if Pamela would use Dubsmash?
First of all, depending on whom she sends the video to, everybody would be...
To all her followers.
To all her followers.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be quite an interesting conversion rate and a good push for you. Yeah.
You just said it, it's hard to kind of define what an influencer actually is. Francis, can you explain to us what is an influencer for you?
We always see influencers as being a person. And this person nowadays can have reach or presences on various different social networks. I mean, yes, we started 3.5 years ago with Instagram, but by now we've branched out into Snapchat and YouTube and all the other social networks. And I also think that influencer marketing in itself isn't something that is totally new, because brands have always been sponsoring actors and artists and sports stars. It's just now that with social media, people can actually track what is happening. Suddenly, people like someone in this room can become suddenly an influencer, having lots of reach on Instagram, and that's the special thing. And this is how we would define influencers in general: people who have influence over a large group of people.
Yeah, and the difference between, okay, so I can't sing and I can't act, so I don't have like this classic talent to be the superstar or something, but that's maybe also important for the followers, because they kind of can relate to me because they can't sing as well and they can't act as well. So I'm kind of one of them, and this is really interesting for brands, because if I'm one of them, I'm more authentic to them.
Okay, that's you're not one of them, because if you see Pamela's exercises she's doing on her Instagram, like I'm pretty sure basically none of you could.
Okay, but I'm something everybody can achieve if they work hard. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think one reason why there's so much interest into these kind of profiles is also this, that yes, Pamela is not Kim Kardashian, sorry, but you still have outstanding reach, and people really look for that content, and they like to look at Pamela's pictures simply because she's not a Hollywood star, and she is building fame and she's popular, and people just love that, and that's why brands love to work with influencers as well, because there's just an outstanding engagement rate, and brands always say to us that working with influencers is just a complete different way of telling their brand story, and it's not using paid social or display ads or whatever. It's really someone who's not the brand telling the story.
Pamela, because the topic is big hype or big help, is there a brand that actually got big with only your photos?
I don't know, because mostly brands work with several Instagrammers and not with like one, but I know that, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I work with Captain & Son, like really in the beginning, the company with the watches, I don't know if you know them, and their server crashed after my Instagram post, and they like couldn't help the customers from buying. So that was kind of, you could really see how my followers react to those posts, but I don't know if somebody just got big because of me, I don't know.
And Francis, I mean, the server crashed of this startup once Pamela posted a picture. Does that happen very often when you give your product to influencers?
What we hear from influencers nowadays is that people having, let's say, 150,000 followers on Instagram or more, they usually tend to get 10 emails a day with product offerings and ideas for working together. One influencer told me also that she's, for example, receiving suddenly a handbag from a brand that she has no clue where it's coming from, and then someone from that brand is pestering her saying, hey, why haven't you posted yet? And that just shows where the industry in influencer marketing is right now. And I'm not sure how many requests you get per day, so it's probably quite a lot by now. And then, of course, influencers are also always extremely careful about with whom do they work with. So there has to be a fit between brand and influencer, and ideally the brand is a love brand for the influencer. Otherwise, influencers are very often afraid of actually losing their follower base as well. And that's crucial that there's a perfect match between these two.
Pamela, can you give us a number? So let's say you have 20 pictures on your Instagram account. How many of those are sponsored, and do you have a rule for yourself?
No, I don't have a rule, but I would say like out of 10 pictures, maybe 2 or 3 are sponsored.
Okay. And Roland, because you don't work with influencers, do you see it kind of critical because you say, well, if you have a good product, you don't need them? Or what's your point of view?
I would say, and that's maybe something that I would like Francis to ask in a second, is the question, when is the right time for a brand or a company to work with influencers? From my experience, and as I said, we are kind of really product-centric company and not too much marketing-driven. That was never kind of a thing, really a question that we asked ourselves. Now, as we get a little bit more established and get bigger, we think about this a little bit more from a partnerships perspective, where there's really value for both sides. So it's not really kind of I pay you for a service and you promote our brand or something. It's more like, okay, how can you use our platform as well? What value can we provide for yourself, and what can we get out of that? So I think that's maybe another level or later stage of this relationship. In general, I would say, thinking about this topic, big hype or big help, I think it's a valid user acquisition channel to think about influencers. But for many companies, influencers in themselves are not kind of the solution for everything, right? So it's kind of just a way of how you can approach the customer. It's a new way, maybe it's a more structured way, maybe it's something where there's more coming through kind of new networks that are on mobile, on the internet in general. But it's nothing where I would say, okay, there's the one way to success through influencers. I think there are companies that are doing a good job doing that. There are kind of companies that get more traction out of that, but it's then kind of just an additional pillar in kind of their acquisition channel. And I'm interested to see how this is developing. And I think there are more and more kind of also analytics and metrics probably around that, how you can kind of measure that compared to other kind of performance marketing channels. So that's also interesting to see in the future.
But what I know, I once worked with Shred supplements from America. It's a totally different product. But I know that they only got big because of influencer marketing. So they didn't invest in anything else than Instagram marketing, and I think Facebook maybe. And they had like athletes and something who were ambassadors for their product, and they built a multi-million-dollar business just because of Instagram. So that's kind of possible, but you have to have like the product which is good itself.
Okay.
So
and Francis, are there many companies like this company from the States that just get big because of influencers?
So to respond to your comment, what we very often see is that influencer marketing is one element in the whole marketing mix of brands. In Germany, we constantly get asked whether we can guarantee a number of installs with a certain influencer marketing budget, and my response is we can't guarantee that because it's not a performance marketing channel. We work with lots of these big consumer brands, and they use it very often for on the one hand for user-generated content, for great engagement, and for branding mainly. But depending on how social networks make data available, it can become more of a performance channel as well in the future.
Okay. Pamela, last question to you before we start listening to the questions from the audience. Where will you be in 3 years?
I imagine myself being like still the personality I am, but with own products like around me. So maybe a fashion brand or like a fashion collection or a fitness collection and an app and stuff. So I try to build like a brand around me. Yeah.
Okay. So I got lots of questions left, but I want to give you the chance to ask questions. Is there anybody who has questions? Okay.
Hello, I was just wondering how to deal with fake followers and fake likes, because I know there's many of them out there, and that's one bad thing about influencer marketing.
Who do you want to answer? Or Francis, do you want?
Yeah, so my take on it is, yes, I agree, there's fake stuff on social media, of course. But in our brand new situation, we always check every single influencer who applies to the platform, and usually we tend to decline 90% of the people that apply through our website. But we have built various mechanisms and automatic solutions to constantly find good quality, real influencers. And then we have some algorithms in place that analyze the follower base of people and so on. So that's the data approach to solve it.
Are there any more questions? No? Ah, yeah, there's a microphone. And please say who you want to answer the question.
Hi, Pamela. I'm also interested in photography and models and other things. But the main difference is, there are tons of hot girls outside there in Berlin, and you're at Rosenthaler Platz and somewhere else, and everybody is everybody hunts for more likes and more likes. But 99.9% of all the other girls and guys fail to come close to the numbers that you achieve. So I think it's worth to have a closer look and analyze what makes the difference between you and the other 99%. So at the first glance, when I see you standing there on the stage at the age of 19, I see that you're much more mature as I was when I was 30, and a lot of other people. I think that's one point, and very sovereign. And when I look at your pictures, I see a high sense for aesthetics. So the pictures are not just like the other pictures that you see from hot girls and hot guys or whatsoever. At which point have you noticed that you have a talent that the others don't have? And at which point did you see that the hockey stick is going to make you rich, famous, and so forth?
I think it's really hard to notice it like for yourself. I didn't notice it ever, probably. I just did what I love, and I'm lucky to have maybe this talent to have like an eye for aesthetics or something. But it's not that I really noticed and I said like, oh, I have this talent, I have to use it. But as you said, there are a lot of things that play into being like a successful Instagrammer. You also have to communicate with your followers, for example. I see a lot of influencers who don't do that, and that's a big point. So you have to do what they tell you. If they tell you like, oh, could you do a blog post about nutrition? And then, of course, I'm maybe doing one about nutrition because they are asking for it. Yeah, so that's kind of important too. But as I said, I don't think you can really explain why somebody gets famous and somebody not.
When did you start on Instagram?
At the age of 16. So I was also kind of early. I don't know if there were a lot of famous Instagrammers, maybe Chiara Ferrani or somebody, but not as many as today. And
so
that
it was more or less at the beginning when Instagram started.
Yeah.
And how much time did you spend at the beginning per day on Instagram?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 20 minutes or something.
Really? Because I've been traveling with some influencers to Turkey, and I was quite annoyed when in the middle of the night suddenly the alarm went off, and I said, what the fuck's going on? And they said, well, I have to be active on Instagram, otherwise I lose followers.
Okay.
So they set their alarm clock every 4 hours, and this is how many also build their follower base. So one person once told me that on Instagram she started to build her 100,000 followers by just following many accounts in the space where she wanted to be, and then interacting with people, as you say.
Yeah.
and posting regular content like 3 times a day and so on. So these are the things that help besides doing beautiful photography as well.
Are there any more questions? The microphone. Oh, okay.
Hey, Roland, this is to you. Congrats to the huge growth at the first place.
Thank you.
What I'm wondering is if you are planning to do some cooperations with other social networks, for example, Snapchat. Is this a competitor for you? Or could you imagine doing something together with those guys?
Specifically around Snapchat now, or in general?
For example.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, looking at Dubsmash, we had quite a journey. It's now roughly 1.5 years, but we kind of also, if you look at the product, it also developed over time. And at the beginning, we were really just kind of a small app that was integrating heavily into other networks. And there, of course, we had kind of deep integrations into other platforms. What we now discovered, or what we experienced, was that we can, or to provide the best user experience possible, we have to have our own kind of platform. And that's what we did. We just released kind of our 2.0 version a few weeks ago. So we want to have the user experience to be fully on our platform. And therefore, at this point in time, of course, you are competing with all different kinds of other apps, because people either spend time on your platform or on the other. So in this sense, yes, there is competition. Doing directly what we are doing, I think there is kind of limited players doing that. And what we envision now being kind of our big plan that we have is going into video messaging, video communication, which is something that is just on the edge to really getting started. And therefore, it's super interesting to be there, to have kind of this user base, to engage with them. And of course, other players also try to get into this space. It's just kind of being kind of really driven and being really kind of on the product and building the best features. And then you have a good chance to also establish yourself in that market.
Thanks.
So we have time for one more question. Is there any question left? No?
Who has a Snapchat account in this room? Instagram?
Oh,
Okay.
more Snapchat than Instagram.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question? Also for Roland.
Yes.
Because I just found out about your app when everyone was already using it. So I was wondering how much time you spend on product development before your very first launch, and what happened between the very first launch and the point when everyone was using your app.
Yeah. So I think we are always spending most of our time on product development. We have been spending most of our time before we launched, while we were launching, and we are continuing, because I think the app space that we are in is something that's really fast moving, and you have to continuously kind of building new features, new functionality to really be up to speed and to cover everything that's relevant to be a relevant player in that market. Kind of the story that we had with Dubsmash was that we were iterating on different other apps. We also had other apps before, and we were learning a lot from those other apps and building that into kind of a new application which had become Dubsmash. And what we, I think it was not too much time, but probably 2 to 3 months before we started really building the first prototypes and getting the first users in and getting feedback in, while constantly iterating on the product to get to the then kind of the official release date in November 2014. So for this app, it was quite fast. In general, of course, a learning experience over months and years that you come to kind of the place where you can start something like this.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any other questions left, I guess you guys are going to be here around for some minutes. So yeah, thank you and enjoy the conference.